What is SQL and what are its types? So there are basically two types of SQL. Open SQL. Open SQL is going to be independent of database, and native SQL, it's specific to database. Not frequently asked question, but this knowledge you should have. This can be one important question. This can be your this can be one important question. Okay, so let me mark it as a important question. So OpenSQL is going to be independent of database, and native SQL is going to be specific to the database. Okay. What is the difference between OpenSQL and native SQL? This is the main difference. OpenSQL, whatever the underlying database you have, whether it is Oracle, Sybase, Informix, HANA, does not matter. Any database. It's true for OpenSQL, and that's why we use the OpenSQL, because you don't have to bother about the underlying database, and it's powerful also from the performance point of view and anything, because we are having the database abstraction interface, right? That is going to optimize the query, and that's why you might have observed OpenSQL sometimes gives you far better performance than the AMDP and CDS, right? If you have been working in the project, you would have realized this, because we are having the database abstraction interface, so that optimizes the query. Okay, fine. And native SQL, if you are going to use the native SQL, you have to write the native SQL inside the exec and end exec statement. Okay, and it's specific to database, so you have to first go and check what is the database, right? And then accordingly you have to write the query. So that's the But why we use the native SQL sometimes? Suppose some of your database table is not present at the application layer, only it is present at the database layer. Then you cannot use the OpenSQL, right? OpenSQL can only be used when your table exists at application server layer. That means in SCA level. That means in data repository. If you have, then only you can use the OpenSQL, right? Native SQL cannot be used if your table is not there. Sorry, OpenSQL cannot be used if your table is not there in the application server layer, right? In that case, you can go for native SQL. That's why sometimes we are forced to use the native SQL.